So we're going to go back to list. It's going to look like this. You can read this down here if you want. We're going to hit next. And we're going to choose what we want here. Now remember, it's list or report. So this would be a sub-sum report, which we're going to cover later. Right now we're going to work just with the columnar list, which is for browse mode essentially. And notice that this one, without this option checked, shows you this dotted line saying that, hey, we're not going to put anything past this page break. Okay, see the difference here? So with it unchecked, imagine you have a big screen. You may want it to go past the page break. But imagine this is really for printing. Then you may not want it to go past the page break, and you may get multiple lines in your list view. And you'll see what that looks like as we get there. So we're going to do this for browse mode only, so I'm going to not constrain the page to the width. And we'll go to next. And now you get to choose which fields you want. You can move all of them, or go in specifically to each one. You can move the first one, or the first name, the last name. We might want the phone, because that's an important thing to see. Maybe a city, and let's try the state also. So that looks like a good layout. Just those. You usually don't choose as many fields for your list view layout, because as you'll see, it'll be many records at once. We'll hit next. Now here's a sort. You can always sort at any time. This is just saying, hey, right when you show it the first time, do you want me to sort it for you? And we haven't really gone over sorting yet, but this is essentially the same dialog as you'll see when we cover sorting. But again, you can sort it any time you want. This is just, do you want me to initially set this up for you this way? But sort can come at any time you want. So we'll just skip this. And then you got your themes. Quite a few themes here. They've actually changed for FileMaker Pro 10 and FileMaker Pro 10 Advanced. In fact, I think they look a lot better now. But I'm going to go with just your standard here, your boring old standard here, because it's going to look a lot like the existing one we have. And it's important to match your look and feel from different layouts so that your users don't go crazy going, oh my god, it's blue on this one and green on this one. You don't want that. And then you can skip this as well, but let's try one of these. This will essentially put header and footer information in for you. You can do this all with the tools up here that you see behind this dialog, but let's try one of them just for fun. We'll choose a large custom text. We'll type in list view. There we go. Click OK. There's lots of stuff you can do, so you can explore this if you want. We'll hit next. Do we want to create a script? Well, we're not ready for that yet. You can always create a script later on. This will just walk you through the process, and we're not ready to do that. We'll hit next again. And do you want to go into browse mode, or do you want to go into layout mode? Well, it doesn't matter. You can go to browse mode and layout mode no matter what. This is just how you initially view the report. It has nothing to do with any permanent settings. So I want you to first see it in layout mode. So let's hit layout mode and then finish. And notice, let's go back to, and you can see your Rolodex is available now. Let's go to the previous layout. Header, big body, footer. Header, small body, and you could have a footer if you want, but it's a very different looking layout. And that's because when we go to browse mode, you'll see that we now have many records per page, and we can still use the Rolodex. And once that little black, it's right down here, it's right next to Janet Swanson right now, that indicates what record you're on right now. And that's very important, because if I hit the tab key right now, I'm going to go to Pamela's record. If I switch to form view, which is our contacts, it's going to go to Pamela's record. If I switch records here, go to list view, we'll be on that record. So that little indicator down the left hand side is very important. It tells you where you're at in the database. And also realize that users may not see this, may not be as obvious to them. So we'll have tricks later on to show you how to highlight the current record that you're on. So that's your list view. Very, very handy. In fact, you often go, almost every database really has a form view and a list view, and they interact with each other. In fact, we'll eventually put buttons in here. But what we also want to cover is how to use your table view, because we've gone over form view, list view, and table view. So realize that the big change here on this is view as list. If I choose view as form, it looks like the form view, but it's really not set up. There's not very many fields here. We'll only view one record at a time. If I go back over to this layout, I can view it as list if I want. It doesn't really make sense to do that, right? This is just crazy because it's too confusing to look at. So typically you set up your layout for one view and one view only. And so I would recommend actually, just setting it up and not letting users get to that using accounts and privileges. But what we're going to do is in the next section, we're going to go and cover how to use the table view. That's another popular view that's similar to form and list.